There's one thing that WWE cannot do with Roman Reigns in 2025. And in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what that is and the gigantic mistake that they cannot make. I don't care what the rationale is, what the explanation is, what the reason is. You simply can't do it. It's just a no. It's an off limits, if you will. Because look, Roman Reigns, we're in this legacy stage of his career. In recent months, I would say over the last 6 months, he's been feuding with Solo Sikoa, most recently having a tribal chief match on the Raw on Netflix January 6th episode of Monday Night Raw. And that was a good match. And this feud has been going on for a while. In fact, I think it's going to go on for a little bit longer. And as we go into 2025, we know that the feud is going to be kicking up as we head into WrestleMania. What they exactly have for Roman, what they exactly have for Solo Sikoa. Do they go at it? Do you bring in a Jacob Fatu? That remains to be seen. Now, look, 2025 marks what I consider the legacy period of Roman Reigns, or at least the continuation of that, because in 2025, Roman Reigns is going to continuously build on his babyface run, trying to get over that act. And even though he has not necessarily changed anything about his character, he's kind of a babyface, even though he acts like a heel, he looks like a heel, he's presented as a heel, right? Yet the fans, they just simply can't get enough of this guy. They want to cheer him. They want to get behind him. They want to see him succeed. Now, this is a long contrast to where we came from with Roman Reigns. If you go back from, summer of 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, and obviously 2024, or at least the most of 2024, well, he was a dominant, undisputed WWE Universal Champion, right? Beating Brock Lesnar, beating Cody Rhodes, beating Kevin Owens, beating the likes of everyone down the roster. A truly dominant champion holding that championship for multiple years and doing so as a heel. And as we head into 2025, there's a lot of changes going on in WWE. You have the continuation of Cody Rhodes' reign as top champion. You have the Gunther breakout. You have Punk back. You have Seth Rollins and Drew McIntyre and Jey Uso and Sami Zayn and all of these characters. But the one thing that they cannot do with Roman Reigns in 2025, I think, is actually pretty simple. I think it's pretty obvious, and I think it's pretty straightforward. You simply cannot have this man as your top tier champion once again. When you go from having a champion who had held a championship on hostage as a part-time champion, no doubt, you cannot have him run it back and be the top champion yet again. I don't want to see Roman Reigns as a world champion, a world heavyweight champion, a WWE champion. I don't even want to see him hold any gold, for that matter, for the next year. And I'll tell you why. Roman Reigns needs to kind of branch out a little bit more. You don't want to have the same old guys, month in, month out, year in, year out, as a title contender or a title holder. That's not to say that they cannot challenge for a championship once a year. That's not to say that they are not in a situation in which they have to not work with new talent or existing talent. I want to see Roman Reigns flesh out this storyline with the Bloodline. I actually want 2025 to be the end of the Bloodline storyline, the rivalry, the feud, the program. Now, look, is that going to happen? Probably not. I mean, they've stretched it out almost 5 years, right? This summer, it'll be 5 years that Roman Reigns returned as a heel with Paul Heyman and introduced this tribal chief character, storyline, persona, gimmick, if you will. Do I see that necessarily ending this year? No. I think WWE is going to run this thing into the ground, and rightfully so. When you have something that prints money, like Roman Reigns is a tribal chief, when you have something that prints money like the Bloodline storyline, well, you run until you can't run no more. And that's exactly what they're going to do. You still have existing Bloodline members that can not only join the company and then join this program, but there's also a lot of paths that you can go. One path that I think is something that it has to happen in 2025 involving Roman Reigns is simply a feud with CM Punk. You got to get that done because they've teased it before. They've teased it recently, and I think they're going to tease it yet again. SummerSlam, that smells like money to me. That sounds like the match, the main event, the headlining contest of that show. You can have Punk and Roman work that show and it not be for a championship, and it'd be a top tier match. It'd be the biggest match on the card, and it's one of the biggest matches that WWE can do. Now, in late 2024, we got a hint of that. We got a tease of that, if you will, because it was Paul Heyman who brought back CM Punk, asking for a favor to team with Roman Reigns, to team with Sami Zayn and the Usos to take on the new bloodline at Survivor Series War Games in Survivor Series. Now, look, that wasn't done in a way where Roman was happy about it. In fact, he was far from it. He was pretty upset about it. Punk, he didn't like it either, but a favor is a favor, and he expects a favor to come back to him one day as well from Paul Heyman. It was Paul Heyman who brought these two together. It's Paul Heyman that can bring them back together. And I think that's a perfect way that they can go in 2025. It's also a way where they don't necessarily need a championship involved. You can have Roman and Punk just go at it. It's no big deal. There's other countless stars on this roster in which you can have Roman work with. There's a lot of up-and-coming talent. There's a lot of talent they're going to obviously call up from NXT. There's a lot of talent they already have on the main roster. It's a roster that is filled to the brim with talent. In-ring talent, top-tier talent, great characters, great promos. WWE's roster has not been this stacked in quite some time. People like to romanticize the Attitude Era way too much. It's an era in which I literally grew up in. I just hit 30. But the fact of the matter is, this era has more, not star power, but it has more in-ring great talent than WWE has ever had, in my opinion. And another thing that they have that is insanely important is the fact that they have a lot of in-ring great talent who actually has star power. One of the knots on AEW is they have all this great talent, yet there's no star power to them. In WWE, not only do they know how to sign great talent that have star power, not only do they know how to develop talent that has star power, but they also know how to intertwine and mix those talents together, and then therefore making bigger stars and a better opportunity for everyone involved. And Roman Reigns has the opportunity in 2025 to continuously be a top star, be booked in a top tier position, yet not be in the title hunt, not necessarily be in the way of upcoming talent. Do I want to see a Roman Reigns versus Gunther match? Of course. Do I want to see a trilogy, a third match between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns to finally settle the score? Of course. But you don't need to do Gunther versus Roman Reigns in 2025. There's plenty of things that those two guys can do. You don't need to do Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns in 2025. That's a WrestleMania main event. I could argue that Gunther versus Roman is a main event of WrestleMania. I could make the argument that if you can't do The Rock versus Roman at WrestleMania next year in 2026, you have the next two WrestleMania main events lined up. Heck, you could throw in a third with Punk if you didn't want to do it in 2025.